Wollmershauser. I've been performing the yellow belt requirements in Hapkido for the American Hapkido Association. With me?
My name is Jeff Jancic.
He will be my associate. Sir, over here. First thing we're going to deal with is the key breathing, or the inner power breathing. Two ways can be applied. One way to help your inside to be healthier and stronger. Another way to be able to accent your powers at different parts of your body you wish to use. The first area is we're going to deal with the inner parts of the body, the healthy part, to make your body function better for you. There's four major areas you want to deal with. First one, bend your knees, get into a semi-stance here, toes grabbing into the mat. Back straight. What we're going to do is breathe in through our nose, out through our mouth. We're going to take in as much as possible the air in, then I'm going to scream, and I'm going to let out about 30% of the air out when I scream to 45% out. And then I'm going to go like an isometric movement on just pushing. Here's how it goes. Watch my first one. Fingers will be wide apart, accenting strength on the fingertips. Fingertips being strong and hard. Here it is. First one. Breathing in. I'll do it 4 times. When pushing your hands forward, what happens is your muscles are going to tighten up in your pec area here, and in return, the inside part of your body is going to be focusing your air inside your lungs forward. So your air in the lungs is going to be like 2 balloons, and these lungs will be used as balloons to massage your internal organs that's around the lungs. So when I was pushing forward, actually my lungs were pushing more backwards. Okay, a lot more backwards going behind to exercise the nervous system coming out of my spinal area and partially in the lower area here too. Plus it's giving the lungs a good exercises for itself. When I go downwards, the air will be mostly pushing the upper part of my lungs. That's number 2 area on breathing. I'll be doing 5 of those total. 1 first and 4 more to follow. Here it goes. Now that worked the upper part of my lungs and the tubes towards my throat and that. So it helped that area there, make it healthier. Now I'll be going up with my hands. Keep my elbows in close. When I'm doing this here, it'll help the air push down, get my lower lungs, get my stomach area, the pancreas, and those other areas in the lower part. Okay? I'll be trying to tighten my stomach up, and that will push a little bit on my kidney areas too. Here it goes. Breathing in, first one. Again, I'm accenting that power on the fingertips, as if I'm poking my fingertips in the sand or into something hard. Okay, trying to push through it. So that works another part. The next one I'll be doing, the 4th one, for health again, is where I'll be taking my hands out like this here, and I'll be bringing my back of my wrist into touch. I'll be doing it very slowly, again, in an isometric fashion, and my fingertips are still going to be tight, like it's against the wall, and the walls are closing in. But I also want to think something else when I'm doing this, when I'm breathing and holding air in there. I want to think that I'm trying to make the largest circle as possible here, as if I've got a net there catching fish. So as I'm closing the net, I want to be able to catch all the fish I can when I do this. By doing that type of movement, and that type of thinking, fingertips tight, like walls closing, plus trying to catch as much fish in the circle as I can, this will have my lungs to be able to put pressure in between where my heart is at. Okay? And help the heart a whole lot. Here's how it goes. One more. Those 4 ways are for the helping the internal organs of your body and your lungs and your heart. Okay? The next one way I'll be showing you can be done in many different ways. It's for accenting your strength in different spots. Like I want to accent my strength in maybe 2 fingers for a 2-finger strike, or a ridge in my hand strike, or focus on a knuckle strike, or focusing on a thumb strike, or a ridge in my arm here, whatever it may be that I want to focus on. I will move that part, and here's how it goes. I'll bring my fist behind me, making a fist, bring my hand behind me, making a fist. I'll do like an isometric curl, very slowly coming up, and then whatever I want to focus on, I'll push out with that particular area going out. Okay? So I'm behind here. Again, behind here, roll my fingers up to a fist. Roll my fingers to a fist. The last one you saw is kind of focusing on my little finger more. That helps develop the little finger as a breaker bar in doing a lot of these techniques as it goes along in the course of Hapkido. Okay, my assistant, sir. We're beginning with strikes for the yellow belt. 7 strikes. When dealing with a level of a yellow belt, you want to first keep it simple. And an easy way to work with another person is the person grabs your wrist. By him grabbing your wrist here, okay, it teaches you where the hand is at all the time and allows you to make the type of block you wish to make on the movement. Like the first strike I'll be working with is a middle knuckle strike. You can focus it on my finger here, my hand. You watch how my finger is here straight. And I bring the other thumb across to block the middle one. With this here now, I'll be striking. And here's how it goes. Focusing back half the body here. I'm focusing, target area is the solar plex first. I will step 45 degrees out to the side. I will block with a small circle block right here. Small circle block. I'll wind up and go for a hip torque into the solar plexus. Here's a little bit faster now. Again. On the strike now, I want to make sure the hip adds the proper power to be able to penetrate him to do the damage I wish to do. That particular area would kill. I can go for the throat with a straight shot in to crush the throat or break the spine. I can go just for a pressure point on a rib cage, hitting with that knuckle. I can go to a pressure point higher up, hitting on the pec muscle. So there's a lot of different areas you can use that particular knuckle strike. You can use it on the person's hand, the arm, or anything. But in the yellow belt area here, we're basically staying with one target. That's the center solar plexus. Again, a circle motion, stepping, bring the hip around, and striking upwards into the solar plexus. Middle knuckle strike. Second strike, spear hand. The hand, you can see how it's locked here. I can have it locked straight, or I can bend it. If I bend it, that is for one type of cup spear hand. If I have it straight, it's for another one. When a person gets older and his bones become brittle, he doesn't want to have it so straight because he can jam into his knuckles and cause arthritis and other problems. So therefore, he'd cup it. It'd be a different strike. Now we're dealing with this type of strike here for a person who's like 55, 60 years old. But up to that age there, up to about 45, depends on the type of health you're in, this is a more natural one or a stronger one at the very beginning. Okay, the spear hand, target is the throat. Again, the same step, the same block. I'm stepping out 45, I chamber my hand up. You can see how my elbow is up high. You see how my wrist is bent, and it's like very loose right now, relaxed, and it snaps out like a snake going for a bite. But yet it's a spear because the fingertips will always aim at its target and spirally twist towards that target to penetrate through the right quarter artery to kill or collapse his neck. Again. Stepping, chamber, block, strike out. A green belt, you wouldn't go with the grab, you'd go with the punch. You'd be blocking a punch. But right now, at yellow belt stage, you go with the stick, this here. Now, a lot of teachers would ask, can I teach with both hands? Well, Choi Yong-Sool has said that he prefers that a person learns it on one side and one side only up to about a red belt level, blue to red belt level. At that point there, he can develop a lot more ability to do it both sides. But you don't want to confuse them and have them work too hard. But you lose a lot of students that way, and you won't get really a good student out of it. So go ahead and stay with one side only when you're teaching that person. Once you reach that blue belt, red belt level, then you can do a little bit on both sides there. By the time you get black belt, you should be able to do anyways. Most of it, say 60% of the things that he's learned on both sides. This comes almost naturally because you've trained so well on one side already. Okay, third strike. This is a pseudo strike. We're going to change hands now. The pseudo strike. The pseudo strike is dealing with the strike of the neck again, or the rib cage, or the side of the skull. The type of step you want, it depends on what power and what strength he's coming at you, what direction he's coming at. We normally prefer you step almost straight in to what's almost considered like a T stance. The block will curl up, your elbow will be tucked in close to keep his body close to you. If you go too far out, you give him room to twist and turn. You don't want that there. You don't want him to get away. If you keep him close, now he doesn't twist and turn where he can get away. You've got him a lot closer for the strike. When striking with this pseudo strike, you want to curl the hand by your ear. You're going to look at your target. As it comes out, you want to aim this elbow as soon as possible towards the target. You're going to roll the hand over. As it almost hits the target area, you want to lock this arm in solid. When I say lock it in, I don't mean straighten it out. I mean freeze it while it's bent and lock the arm in with your upper torso. At this point here, when you shift your hips, this arm being tight with the upper torso will snap right through his neck, and his neck will break immediately, just like that. Okay, so it doesn't need to be straight. It can be bent. Another thing is that if you step to the side and you come out and strike here and you lock, you don't have a torque ability to be able to really do the damage because you've lost you haven't gained your max yet on speed. You lost the power. Your max is normally almost straight out and then locking and twisting. Now I'm way over here. If his neck's there, I must consider that and make sure this upper torso is turned accordingly to the target area. Again, striking out here, up here for the kill, if you want to. You go low and for the low rib area. Okay? Again. Next strike is an elbow strike to the rib cage. Okay, on this strike here, the elbow strike, you want to consider what type of damage you want to do to the person. And that will determine on how you turn the hand when you're striking the person to the rib cage. When I step in, I want to step in deep, because elbow strikes are normally close quarter. The guy's right on top of you, and you kind of need room, like, you know, and you cannot do a full strike with a pseudo strike or something. So the only thing you have left is the elbow to administrate the strike. So what you want to do here is get in deep on the step. As you can see how I penetrate his feet. And as my hand comes across the striker's ribcage, if you notice, my hand is first facing up. There's the block, this hand is facing up. As the elbow comes out for the strike into the ribcage, and it starts extending out and rolling the hand over, this point I will determine where my power is going to go through. What part of his body. Because when I make contact with him, if the hand is straight up and down, it's going to go straight through him, straight back, right through his body and out. If I turn this way here, it's going to hit this lung over here on his right-hand side. If I turn this way, it's going to go for his left lung. So I go for one lung, the center of his body, or the other lung, according to where I turn this hand, rotate it. So my teres minor and major muscle here, when it rotates over, this will help me a lot on the force power. To make this force power really work well, when I'm coming in, I want to be able to extend the elbow out, but keep it close to my body, and then lock it in with my body and use that shift of the hips to be able to really run into him deep. As such. Close here. Not too far where he can move and get away. Close here, he cannot move much at all. Where I've got him blocked. I've got this knee straight, where I can check either one of his knees if he tries to sweep me. Where I can check either one of them out real quick. The next strike is the back of the arm here. And it's going to be striking up here. Now, can you tell here, it's kind of hard for me to reach here. Especially if I'm at a stance like this here. It's going to be even harder for me to reach. So the secret to this here is a slided foot up. Now, Dr. Junhan Park, my immediate Grandmaster instructor, has told me that anytime you work with a taller person, you've got to make sure that foot slides up to properly shift your power into the person to get the nucleus into a small area to be able to snap everything apart on him. Okay? So basically what he's saying is this here. As I come in for this strike, I'm going to slide my back foot up to give me height. As I'm colliding in with his neck here, I'm going to shift my hip, because my upper torso is going to be locked, and this is going to eliminate him real quick. There I am, locked, guarding myself, and he's gone. Again. Again, as you can tell, I'm keeping him close, too. And one more time. If I want to, I can always pivot around underneath and go for a technique or something. The next strike is a spin around strike. Number 6 is a spin around. This type of strike is dealing like with a guy who's going to be throwing a round the house type of punch, a hook punch or something, okay? So if I'm like walking by him and this hand comes out like this here to punch, this is what we're dealing with. So you're walking by a guy, you try to, say, hey, I want to fire something, he throws a punch at you, you can block it. When you block it, you hit right at that radio bone, okay? Hit right at that radio bone. When you hit that radio bone with your ulnar bone here, okay? Not the radio bone, but the ulnar bone, underneath one here, you want to be able to snap it, twist it and snap it. When you twist and snap it, it's going to numb his arm from hitting his radio nerve there. From this point here, you're going to spin around, step in deep, and go with elbow strike right in his gut. Now you can see how this hand is still up here blocking him partially. From this point here, while I'm hitting him, I'm going to bring the hand across. Because now this other hand will be coming up while I hit him. We'll take a look at it from the other side now. Same punch. I'm blocking. I'm breaking that nerve right there, his energy. I'm stepping in deep, and I'm giving him a good elbow shot right into the gut. The other hand may come around, so I can come right across and block it. Right here. Or I may just come in for a grab, because he'll be getting hit hard in the stomach. I'm going to block it. I'm going to go for a groin shot with open hand, straight up and down for if he pulls his knees, and I can still grab him by the groin. From here, I'm going to immediately do a back fist to the face to straighten him up and get him off me. And he'll be falling back. Again, striking, spinning, strike, down, and up. Again, block, spin in, down, and up. And you can see how I can move his hand a little bit right there, but I did block it. The next strike, some people feel it's more of a technique. It can be used as a technique, but this particular one here is going to be what's called an X block, and can be done from a grab too. Now, the previous one you saw him do the punch. Now, the way you would do it from a grab is very simple. Let's go back to the previous one, the spin around, number 6. All I do is turn the hand out. By turning the hand out, what happens is that the radial nerve, or this muscle, is going to come up, and the radial nerve is going to be exposed there. So it's going to give me a nice target area to practice on. And it's going to help me a lot to be able to, when I step to hit, I can use this arm and my body to lock in for I can hit it real hard. I don't hit it real hard because, you know, here he's going to get bruised. He's bigger than me anyways. So when I hit, and twist it, and turn his hand outward for him to break away, boom. And I can come in for a strike, as I said before. I just want to mention it anyways on the grab. Now we're going to the last strike, number 7, which is called the X strike. Okay, grab my wrist. Okay, this one here, what's happening here, why a lot of people say it's a technique almost, is that you are coming up for a grab. Okay? So a lot of times, you know, it's going to be hard to catch it from a punch. Well, to get this particular one from a punch is quite simple. You use the other hand to block. And you're still going to land up with both hands facing the same way, fingers facing the same way. Now from a grab, I'm bringing the V up. I'm bringing the other hand across, grabbing his hand. As my hands are locking, I'm going to step through. I'm going to keep my hip forward here, and my arm is going to break his arm right here for the strike. So strike him right across here and break it. I keep my elbow high over here. That allows me to guide him where I want to, send him to. And normally I'll go out a vector, a line diagonally across the room here, not parallel, but diagonally down, going for a crash there. And when I go across the 60-degree strike here, the reason why we call it X strike is right here on the strike where I'm hitting him at, there's an X. Hit this arm and this arm here. It's crossing right here. That makes the X. That's the X right there. That's why we call it X strike. Whack right there. Okay? Again, up, across, grab, shift the hip, upper torso is already locked in, crab. I don't have it far out here. I don't have my elbow dropped. I got the elbow high, the other wrist bent. By bending that wrist there helps a lot. Bending that wrist helps tremendously to be able to really make that technique work well. And snap that elbow. You feel a strain there, Jeff? I'm going to hit. Okay, those are the 7 strikes. The 7 strikes. Again, I'll just run through the 7 strikes one time each. First one, middle knuckle. Second one, spear hand. Third one, pseudo. Fourth one, elbow to rib cage. Fifth one, elbow to side of neck. Sixth one, spin around. Turn in, hand out. Striking, strike, strike, and up. Seventh one, X strike. And that ends the 7 strikes. Now we're going to the breakaways. Breakaways. Breakaways is where a person grabs you. Grab me, sir. Grab me tight. Okay, grab me tight, my hands turn white. Okay. To give me the advantage to be able to break away, there's 2 things I should keep in mind. One is, spread my fingers wide apart. That elongates the 2 bones in my wrist. The second thing is always push to escape. Some people say always push towards the thumb. Well, I can escape without pushing towards the thumb all the time. But by elongating the 2 bones here, that's by spreading my fingers apart, elongate them, pull them apart. It's hard for them to hang on to. By pushing, I can get away. If I pull, watch him hang on. See, I can pull, and he's still got a hold of me. But as soon as I push, it snaps right out. Right on out. Again, pushing and keeping the hands apart are two important things. The next thing is bring the elbow in close to the body. The first one is going to be called a downward breakaway. Now we're going to add a little bit more into what a lot of people have seen out there as far as the breakaway goes by adding a little bit more attack to it than a simple strike once we break away. Most people are playing a single strike. We'll add a little bit more to that. Here's how it goes. First one, I step straight in, break down. I strike up, down, and up. Again, fingers wide. As I step in, I raise my hip, I raise my leg, I lock that power in on one side, bring my elbow close, I step down, there it goes. Some people will break straight down, but a person like him with a long arm, he will still have a hold of you. So if you break straight down and then try to bring it up, he still has a hold of you. But if you break across to the far knee, keep it close to your body, his arm will break down that way too, and like a comet's tail being left behind from guiding from his shoulders, it's going to leave a nice parallel trail for you to come back for a return shot into his solar plexus or something else. Okay? Watching again. Try to remember to put a guard up, because too often a person, when he first grabs you, they may want to slap you or punch you or pull you into something. When they try to make that movement there, you've got a guard up, boom, 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 or you can get them real quick, or you can hit them. You've got control over them. Excuse me, sir. Again, that was downward breakaway. Stepping in, pushing down. Strike, strike, and strike. I look at all the targets every time so I don't make a mistake and I don't penetrate too much. It's a downward breakaway. Second one, inward breakaway. Inward breakaway. Same grab, same wrist. Sometimes when you're first learning it, a person may grab you and you say, well, he knows which way you're going and he's stopping you all the time. All you do is divert a little bit by going up towards the shoulder right here. Same step. Remember this time now, when you break away, you want to guard the rib cage down here. That way you can easily grab his arm if you want to. I prefer you not to grab the arm. And the reason why is that when a guy grabs you, he sees your body moving already, and he can react to the body motion. But as soon as you push a guy, oh, he'll react a lot faster. You can get punched much quicker that way there, or something can happen to you. So, try to touch him sometimes. Sometimes you can break away so clean that they don't even know they lost you. They're still surprised. You can take advantage of that. Here we go again. Downward breakaway. Then we'll go with the inside breakaway. Downward breakaway. Inside breakaway. And I can grab and strike and add many more things to it if I wanted to. Now we go with the outward breakaway. On an outward breakaway now, we're going to step with the other foot. And we're going to strike him with a pseudo strike as if we're throwing almost a baseball. Okay? I'm stepping in, and I'll snap my hip around and bring that hand right down toward the collarbone. The collarbone takes about 3 to 5 pound pressure to break on most people. If you hit it right on the tip, the right spot, you can snap it. When a collarbone breaks, it's just like a car losing a tire. The shoulder will fall down, and you can't bring the arm too easy because there's no support up here to help him. All his pec muscles here that connect to it there won't be able to do it. Okay? So that's what's nice about collarbone. But then again, if you splinter at the wrong spot, it can jab into the throat or puncture into the lung area there going down to one of the bronchial tubes. Okay? So those are things you got to take into consideration too if you're going to do damage to a person, which we prefer not to, but in self-defense, we have to do some things sometimes. Again, outward breakaway. Slow motion now. I step in, elbows close, hands guarding, I push. You see I push my body, I bring it behind my head, I bend my thumb to give me power on my hand, I snap my hip across, focusing my elbow towards the target I'm going at. Keep my eye focused for the strike, wherever it may be. Next breakaway, run, run. Run, run, breakaway. Now people say, gee, martial arts, why run, run? Hey, most martial artists always believe you can avoid a fight, get away from it. Of course, sometimes you have your loved ones there, your family's there, and the situation comes down differently. You cannot desert them because they're being in trouble. So you cannot run them. But this one here is a nice, easy one, for, especially for kids to learn to get away from someone big trying to grab them. It goes like this here. The person grabs you. First, since it's a kid trying to do it against a big person, as soon as the kid moves one direction, the person knows it. They're going to hang on to him that way there. And then most likely they're going to pull back the other way on the kid because they know they can overpower the kid. So so the kid wants to do this trick to the older person. You want to first go one way. When the person comes back, he can use that energy of the person to help him go the direction he really wanted to go the first time. Here's what I'm saying. I fake here and come back here. I put my hand, as you can see, on the back of his wrist. Now, I do not bring my thumb here because I'm getting in trouble. Because if I'm scared, I can very easily grab a hold of him, drag him with me a little bit, and I can't get away. But my thumb's on the other side. Even if I'm scared and locked out, I won't hold on to him. I can still push and get away. I want to aim his arm, his lower arm here, his forearm, towards his eyes like a basketball shot, like a set shot in basketball. Just flicking it right at his eyes. That way, he won't be able to see me. Plus, the arch of his body will be matched for him to recover. It will be the hardest way for him to recover, I'm saying. So if I'm flipping here, you can see how his body arches back. If your person stands on the ledge, stand straight, sir, and a person pushes you right here, that's going to be hard for you to recover your balance. And that's what you want to create on this person who grabs you. Here's how it goes. I fake, I come around. I aim, I push, and turn to run. As I'm pushing, I'm using the same energy to turn my foot, turn my body, and run. Again, run, run. Fake, bring it around. Get underneath my elbow tight, aim at the eyes, do a set shot in the eyes, the same side turning to run. Breakaways. Again, downward. Inside. Outside. Run, run. Breakaways. Okay. Get it? Okay, now we're picking up from chest grabs. We're going to do 2 chest grabs, one with one hand, one with 2 hands. The first one with one hand is a very useful one for the police officers. What it deals with is controlling the opponent in the case they're trying to grab your badge or something else. Because certain things just invite people to grab. So what you're going to be doing here is you'll be coming up and grabbing his hand. If he grabs his left hand or his right hand, you grab with your right hand. If you grab his left hand, you grab with your left hand. Always stay with the same hand. Then it's important on which way you turn. And it depends on what type of technique you want to do to the person. I like controlling the person myself. So coming up, I'll grab his hand, my fingers will wrap around, I will pull it to my chest. I will put the other hand right on top. By having my power fingers out will accent my strength grab on the little finger a lot more. Okay? From here, I get my chest tight against him, my hand held tight against his hand, so he's sandwiched right in between. I've lowered him a little bit by a little bit of a turn. At this point, I'm going to twist his wrist and take him down a little bit. It depends on the angle I step back. I'm going to step into what's called, to Americans, a semi-horse stance. As I do, watch how I twist and how it takes him down. From here, I can water his eyes with the backhand snap. Pow! Thumb covered. That way, in case I get in trouble, someone sees me misusing my technique with somebody, if I had to go to court, what did I strike him with? I slapped him. I didn't punch him, I slapped him. So it helps a lot right there. I will follow up by taking him down to the ground in just 1 minute. Here's basically what I'm doing. I'm taking his hand, tight, flatten it out. I am going forward with his hand to break his energy in the elbow. I am twisting the angle of his wrist to start lowering his body below me. I continue to twist, adding it down, it breaks him down lower. If I do it very rapidly, I can break his wrist very easily. Several bones will be splintered, plus the connecting area by the elbow will snap out of place too. So you've got to really watch out when doing these techniques, as you know they can really maul a person very easily. Again, he grabs. This is called a backward chest technique. I secure with both hands. I want this hand second if I can slap him. This one here can have him tight. I'm going to take him down. I'm going to do a backhand snap. Ha! From here, I can take him down even farther. I'll grab his hair on the opposite side of his head. That way his neck cannot resist me when I pull. What I'm going to do is be pulling him and twisting him. When working with a partner, always take into consideration the neck. You don't want to injure the guy. If I pull down his back, it's going to cut across his cartilage in his neck, and his bones can easily damage a nerve and rupture a muscle fiber in that, which will cause a lot of swelling and problems for him later on in his life. So when I work with a friend in a class, I'm going to make sure I arch up and out. Up and out. Now I'm going to be taking his head around to this foot over here. It's back here. When I do that, I'm going to step this foot out of the way behind me. Then I'm going to grab a pressure point underneath his chin and follow it with a strike. Okay, watch this here. I grabbed him. I'm going to control him. He's down. I remove my hand off of his hand. I grab the pressure point underneath his chin, arching him up, a little bit of pain. The other hand can come across and crush the throat very easily. Okay, or I can lock into a C and talk to him, that's other strikes for a higher belt rank. Right now we're dealing with a pseudo strike for the yellow belt. Okay, sir? Okay, again, let's take a look at it. Jeff grabs me. When Jeff grabs me, the first thing I'm going to do is kind of lower my weight, and as a yellow belt, I want to first deal with not him pulling me, not him pushing me, just learning to control him. Later on, I can learn how to do the other part through practice. I secure, I step back, twist, I back snap him, I grab, I spin him around, I lock, and then I've got to strike here, got to strike here, got to strike here if I want to. Or I can come across and grab the arm and then knee on the muscle here to give him a little extra pain to hold him down. Okay, Jeff. That is called the backward chest grab. Let's deal with two hands grabbing your chest. Like sometimes maybe a person will grab your suit or something instead of a tie or something. When grabbing with two hands, what's nice about this one here is that now you can really lower his whole center body by grabbing one hand, pulling over, and locking the other one. I'm just reaching over, grabbing my fingers, coming across my elbow, and snapping down, and now I've got him trapped right in here. I can lower his weight a little bit, but he cannot pick up his feet to kick me. Okay? He may want to switch in for a throw. But as he switches in for a throw, all I do is step back. When I step back, I'm going to come right up underneath his elbows here. When I do that, as my arm is ready to hit him, I'm going to lock my arm with my body, and I'm going to twist my hip. It's going to jack him up in the air real easily and straighten him up. Real quickly, I'm going to pivot around my hand. I'm going to, instead of striking him, which I could, I'm going to come right down his radial nerves with a ricochet strike. This will numb his arms a little bit, it'll break his grip, and his hands will drop, and he'll be wide open for a throat strike. Watch this. And now, goes the throat strike. Let's take a look at it again now. Two-hand grab. Right away, I secure. I step back, break underneath his elbow. If I hit it hard enough, I can probably break his elbows. Wham! Because I'm using my body weight, not just my arm strength. I pivot around. If he's moving something quick, I can come straight across and strike here if I want to. But instead, I'll go ahead and clear out his hands off of me. Boom, right down those nerves. If he kind of falls back a little bit, I can shove in right here. Quick shuffle in and strike. Always focus on your target areas with your eyes. Too easy a person will look away and make a mistake and injure a person. Okay? Those are two from the chest. The backward chest and grabbing the dobo. Okay, two hand grabbing dobo. Now we go with the shoulder technique. We're going to remain pretty much on the same basic technique on the first grab of the chest, on the shoulder, because police officers realize that there are certain techniques they've got to learn that will make it work in many different areas. Okay, so this is a backward shoulder technique. As he grabs my shoulder here, the first thing I'm going to do is grab his hand, lock it tight against my shoulder. I'm going to secure with the other hand. Now, some people cannot reach up and touch the shoulder, and some people can. So if you can't, that means this hand's got to develop a much better grip, and you're going to start getting the shoulder to work for you. What I mean by work for you, I mean once you got it tight, just like you did a chest movement there, you're going to lean forward a little bit, you're going to step back, and you can continue that little twist. You can see how it takes it down a little bit lower. Now again, there's that backhand slap right there. Quick backhand slap, or I can go for a break if I want to. A backhand slap is nice because it waters the eyes. The sinus cavity behind is like an echoing chamber. It will cause dizziness in his head. Therefore, he's incoherent on where he's at. He cannot see very easily because his eyes are watery. So you got two great advantages by a backhand slap on the person. Okay? From here, you can stop if you want to, or you can do other techniques on this here. One is what we call the outside lead. All I do is backhand slap, retrace back to his hand, grab his hand, and I'll be turning him over and stepping back for a nice follow-up technique, which this technique will be done shortly when we get to the wrist techniques. I'll give us a little follow-up, just 1 minute. Okay, the main thing I want you to really understand is really securing the shoulder and the hand and sandwiching him tight right in between. I want you to be able to grab all the way across. Okay, all the way across. And when you turn, be careful you don't turn, let the arm straighten out. Because then you may be forced to do a different technique that you don't want. Usually when the arm gets straightened out, he has a tendency to want to pull you. Okay, because he's trying to run or pull you down or throw you down. Okay, now you can easily roll into other techniques that are higher up in the belt ranks. But right now what I want you to do is control him by breaking him down, make that elbow bend. From here, stepping back, and strike it right on in. Okay, again, he grabs, secure, here, turn, down he goes, and then from here I add a lot of pain to him right here by taking his wrist pinned to the ground and watch. 1 slap means it hurts, 2 slaps means it hurts a lot. Okay, good job. Shake it loose. Okay, that's the backward shoulder technique. Same as the backward chest technique, quite a bit. Only difference is you're learning how to roll that shoulder over. Same as you learn how to push that chest forward. We go into the next one is a wraparound type of technique. We call it a wraparound from the shoulder. Okay, here's where we will again grab. With this hand when we step and move our hand, you've got to keep many things to your alertness as far as moving goes. Okay, one thing you got to keep in consideration is he punching with the other hand. If he is, there you go. His hand comes around, can catch him with a block, and take that hand right around with you. If he isn't, as you're coming around, and all of a sudden he may try to do a strike now, you go right for the face instead, because you're already past the block. Go right for the face, and use your thumb and your fingers to hook pressure points. Or grab the hair. If he hasn't done that yet, wow, you got a freebie now. Go right on around the arm, aim at the elbow, open your fingers wide, run them through, push it a little bit there, and now we're going to give him a little bit of discomfort. Okay? Now I got him jacked up, my knees are bent for mobility. I can sweep him with this foot, can I not? All I have to do is get a little bit closer. With a quick shuffle here, I can sweep him. Or I can add that spear hand strike as you saw in the strikes earlier in this tape. Straight into underneath the rib. Bring the hand around. As I'm ready to strike that rib area, just below the rib, I'm going to lock my arm in with my upper torso and free my upper torso with my hip and let my hip do all the work on going underneath his rib. And now I got a hold of his rib. I'm inside his rib. I'll let go. So that's way very easy. You can get the strength to be able to go underneath the ribs and get and lock underneath the rib to yank it or crack it or something else. Okay? Very easy. The other option you got, which is many, this one here, deals with breaking the collarbone. All you do is come right across the collarbone, strike it. The collarbone only requires 3 to 5 pounds pressure to break it. The head only weighs 8 to 12 pounds. So if I went for a pound strike, it's easy to snap his neck and injure him severely there. So you've got to take into consideration what type of damage you're going to cause this person. I myself prefer to give a guy a little bit of pain and tell him, better watch out, don't horse around. So I can always make it very uncomfortable for him. A lot more. Okay, sir? Okay, so that was a shoulder technique. You had a backward shoulder technique, and you had a wraparound technique. Now we're going to go into the hair techniques. The hair techniques takes a little bit more talent to be able to master that. What's happening is you're taking the top of your head and you're directing it better than the chest. It's a simple pushing your head forward and pushing down. You're directing it even more so than the shoulder with a roll. So with the push and with the roll, and those two things in focus on what you want to do, watch what you can do then. Carefully now. You grab the hair, okay? He's got it. I grab immediately, as I see him grabbing for the hair, I want to be right behind him. So as his hand is entering my range here, I want to be right behind him. Same type of grab as I said before. He grabs his right first, I grab my right first, okay? Then I try to secure with the other one. From here, I'm going to push tight, like I did with my chest, and I'm going to roll it like I did with my shoulder with a directional vector through his hand and out, out, out someplace. And then I can strike. I don't have to see him where he's at. Because once I apply this type of pressure and twisting, the arm is going to always bend into what's called a lazy S situation, and his face is always going to be that same general spot. The backhand slap will tell me real quick, if by some chance he's ducking, I will whiz right on by his head. I know he's only doing one thing, ducking. Just snap right back and grab the hair and say, I've got you now, buddy. Okay? And from the back of the head, or around the sides of the head, you can really control a person to the utmost, especially in street situations, street control, which that comes later on another tape. Again, the hair technique, we call it the backward hair technique. Therefore, he's grabbing, he's more or less pushing forward, and I'm stepping and taking him back behind. See the stance? Wide stance, toes grabbing. I cannot see him, but I know where he's at. Pow! There's my strike. Boom! A quick snap right off if I want to. Okay, when I hit him in the eyes, his hand's going to loosen up a little bit. If it doesn't, I've got pressure points right here in the thumb area that I can apply real quick on him to break that grip. Or I can go right underneath for a pressure point right in here, and that will break the grip of his hand. So here my hands were. I came down, pow, I hit, I got a pressure point here, I got a pressure point right here. And now he's broken loose. So now my neck is going to be free again, we cannot snap it. That there is the backward hair technique. We're going to go to the forward hair technique as if he's pulling me forward or pulling me into a punch or maybe even a knee strike. The thing there again, when you deal with martial arts, you've been in it for a while, you can start reading a person. You can read his thoughts. You can read his motion. You can read his direction, what he wants to do. So when he comes up and grabs your hair and he's pulling you forward here, as he's grabbing, you're going forward, here's what you're going to do. I cannot resist him coming straight down pulling. Pull, sir. I cannot resist that very good. But if I just, as he pulled me, if I just arch my body a hair like this here, that will give me enough of a movement to be able to make the technique work that I'm going to do. Okay, watch here. As he pulls, arch, down he goes. Pow, there he is. Again, now I'm going to do that arch a little bit more pronounced. Watch. You see how I raised my foot this time? Let's see if you can see how I raised my foot. And what I'm doing when I raise my foot is I'm taking his whole leg, locking it up with my hip, and my hip comes forward. There's a lot more weight behind me, behind my upper body, that I can be able to control him. There it is. Ha! And there's my strike again, and pressure point 2. Okay, now that is the forward hair technique. Stepping forward. If you notice where I step also, I step right between his legs or right to the outside. It depends on what I want to do, to him. And I can carry this technique with much more follow-ups but as a yellow belt, you cannot ask that much of a yellow belt when they're first learning it. As Choi Yong-Sool told me in Korea, when dealing with a student, at the very beginning, you say, "Sir, you're first joining up, Jeff. You know, I like to make you really good, make you my best student. I want to make you better than me. But I want to do it with one side only. Are you left hand or right hand, sir?"
I'm right hand.
He said he's right hand. So I tried to make his right hand do most of it up to a blue belt level. From blue belt to red belt, by then he's already working both sides a little bit. And he has so many techniques he's able to really perfect them a lot on the correct side, and his brain is able to work to the opposite side very easy on transferring information. By the time he's a red belt going for a red belt one stripe, now the percentage is almost equal. By the time he's up to a black belt, he's almost there. So don't try to tell a student, or a student tell you, master both sides right off the bat as a yellow belt. He told me he has spent over 30 years underneath his teacher. His teacher goes back a long string of many centuries of teachers, down the line, and they all have came up with certain ways of teaching that they found that is best. So please, take that in consideration for the student. We're trying to encourage the student. We're not trying to stand there and laugh at the person who cannot do something with both hands. We're trying to first encourage him, to make him enjoy what he's doing and be able to relate to it a lot better and feel comfortable. Okay? Okay, now we'll be going into the next area. Wrist techniques. Wrist. We're doing 4 wrist techniques. 4 of them. The first one we're going to do deals with transferring your power when a person is tight and his strength is strong. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to step forward and arch up a hair here. Instead of bringing his body up, he's locking his inner power. And I'm keeping my elbow close to me. Okay? Watch again. He's got me, and I turn here. And it brings him up. I'm really locking in. I'm really freezing it. And one way of practicing this here is, you know how kids play statues? They may lay on the floor, and you grab them home by their neck, and you lift them up. Well, that's the beginning of it, to teach them how to lock their inner power. Now I've got them locked high. I'm using my power well. From here, I'm going to go for the thumb, because normally the thumb is one of the weakest spots to go for. I'm going to slide my foot back. I'm going to turn my hand over. His thumb is right there. And I'm going to grab his hand. From here, I'm pushing on the thumb a little bit. Some people have more flexibility than that. They go all the way back to touch. But it doesn't matter. As I push, I'm also going to be twisting his wrist a little bit. As I do this, I'm going to step forward. I'm going to raise above his elbow and strike down. And he'll be going down to the mat. Ha! Again, I step forward, bring the power in, I bring it back, locking and pushing. I step again, as I step down, I'm just above the elbow tip, about 3 centimeters, right on where the tricep comes into the ligaments, and when I hit here, I add a little bit of a movement there. If he's real muscular and his arm is bent now, all I have to do is do a little roll and it will snap it right open and straighten it out quite well for me. I continue with the lock of the arm to the body. That takes him down. Again, number 1 wrist technique here. Stepping forward, guarding, bringing it back, stepping in and breaking them down. From here, I can back slap, grab his chin and break. For a yellow belt, the back slap is sufficient. Boom, right across there, hitting right in the face. Again, 1, 2, 3. Okay, number 2 technique, outside lead. Outside lead. Now, outside lead, what we're going to be doing, I'm going to bring them up and I'm going to be taking them down to the ground here. I'm going to do it on both sides so you can see what's happening, and I'm going to do that at an angle a little bit too. Jeff, let's just step on our foot forward here, okay? That way you won't be bouncing off any walls here too often. Okay, what happens here is that I'm going to be coming up, keep my elbow close, I'm going to bend my hand towards me, I'm going to keep my fingers spread wide apart. This separates the grip on him. I'm going to come around, I'm going to grab his thumb, with my thumb across, my power finger up. Now, in order for me to do this, I got to break his energy, his concentration. Since he is concentrating on his right side, any part of his right side of his body that I may touch or hit or make him flinch will break his concentration on this grip. So what I do is, I do a quick instep kick. Take a look at the instep kick. I come out of the instep kick, I have my foot turned, but won't glance off him. I have a shoe on, I can always break down the knee. Okay? The same time I hit this kick here, I'm going to bring my hand up to be prepared to break that energy and take control of him. Here's how it goes. 1 and 2. Down he goes. Here's what has happened now. I came up, I caught, I came across my thumbs in the back, caught my thumbs in the back, I grabbed, and now my second finger here, I'm going to use it to break the energy of his wrist by bending that wrist. Follow the turn, down he goes. Over here on the side, sir. Move this way a little more. Now, on a follow-up in this technique for a yellow belt, I want him to be able to control that man when he's down. Now, it's very easy. You can place a person any place you want on the floor if you know one little thing. That is where to step. If I want to place him at this spot right here, I'd call that 9 o'clock. Because say we imagine this is a clock. I'm standing in the center. He's at 12 o'clock, and I'm going to place his butt at 9 o'clock. To do that, all I have to do is step 2 hours before that, at 7 o'clock. If I want to place him at 7 o'clock, I step 2 hours before that. And anytime you start having him add more distance around, he's going to develop what's called centrifugal force because his body is going to be launched a little bit quicker and farther out. When that happens, he can roll out of a technique if you don't counter turn. I'm going to do the counter turn on him, even though I'm going to take him a little bit short. Okay, here's what we're saying. Here's the counter turn before he hits the ground. I return back. I come down his elbow, just above his elbow tip, and now I got him locked. I got the hand turned over. This is very important. From here, I can water his eyes, and then get ready to strike him if I want to. A lot of different strikes I can do to him. Okay? Again, this is called the outside lead. I'm leading my opponent outside. Here we go. 1, up, 2, down, counter turns, back around. I can lock him up high, or I can take him to the ground, roll my knee across, which separates the muscles to get to the nerve area, water, and finish. The third technique is a forward power technique. This deals with me bringing my hand straight up as a V. As you can see how he breaks loose here. I don't want him to get away, so what I want to do when I break up like this here, I want to cover that hand to be able to grab it as soon as possible. I want to break his concentration the same way I broke his concentration before. I want to kick him in his thigh or around his knee with the instep. So as I do this, I'm going to cover. I can strike him too. I don't necessarily have to kick him. I can strike him too. But you want to help this yellow belt to make movements with his feet. So get him to start using his feet right off the bat. Right off the bat. And here's the way you do it. Coming up, kick. Step back. As I step back, I got the hand, and I'm going to turn the hand up, over. I'm going to line the hand with these two bones right here. The ulnar bone and the radial bone. At this point here, this hand's going to apply pressure this direction. This hand's going to apply pressure up. I always try to raise it at least the level of his shoulder or a little bit higher to be able to take control of him. And here's what happens with the control now. 1, 2. As I'm doing this, I'm pushing him away from me. There's pain there. From here, I'm going to pull him into me. I'm going to kick him in the ribs. A front kick into the ribs. Again, forward power. 1, 2, 3, and kick. The main thing again is keep the elbow in close, lower your center of gravity, open that V up and cover that grab. bring it around and line up the hand with those two bones straight up and down. Applying pressure here won't make the technique work all the way. Applying pressure here doesn't make it work all the way. You can go back here to do a technique, but then you're really going to have to add something else to it. A lot of other type of motions. Here, with the hand here, you don't have to. Because from this point here, I can control in many different directions by having him hold this wrist, which we'll deal with that on another belt test. Down, the snap, and the kick. As you saw, I first pulled him, I pushed him, and I re-pulled him into the kick. Always playing with that energy, a circular motion. Okay. Now we'll go into the next technique. Okay. Polar guidance. Polar guidance deals with controlling his body from his arm to his shoulder to his other shoulder. So we're going to take control of the whole thing. And here's how we go about doing this here. We turn our hand to the outside. Very unique. Turn our hand to the outside to give yourself room to grab that hand. From here, you'll be pivoting around. The other hand will pivot around. You'll cross your thumbs in the back. Your little fingers are going to be the breaker bars cutting that energy in his wrist area. And you're going to be pushing him and guiding him down for a double guidance through his body. Let's take a look at it now. He's got me. I'll be administrating a kick again. I will take my hand up. I'm also going to keep my elbow close as we mentioned before. 1, 2. I could kick him here. I also can control. I can bring his foot up and around to take him down. When I bring his foot up and around, if he tries to move, I can use my heel and hit him right here if I want to. I can use my heel and hit him in the kidney, the spine, or the top of the head. Or I can continue this foot all the way around him. Watch this. And then lock him. I'm going to show you what it looks like from a different angle now. He's going to stand over here on this side this time. Okay? Polar guidance. 1, over, 2, little fingers working. 3, up and around. From here, I take where his spine's lined up and I line my leg up parallel with it. I bend his arm, my body can hold it and trap it here. I grab his hair on the opposite side. If I grab here, he can still roll and take me over him. But if I grab on the opposite side, I've got what's called counter lock. I'm counter locking him. And I got my elbow into his spine right and start breaking him down to the ground. And now he's broken down. And he's locked. Okay. Easy. Okay? And that part you should always do on a yellow belt examination too. Okay? So you had the first technique, you had the second technique, you had a third and a fourth. The first one you dealt with the stepping in on this side. The second one you dealt with coming straight up. The third one you dealt with a V. And the fourth one you dealt on the other side. So you did 4 corners right there. Right off the bat, 4 sides of that there hand movement to control that person from a grab. Okay, now we're going to situation techniques. We do this 4 situation techniques. One is the front choke. When a person chokes in the front here, there are a lot of things you can do. Probably one of the easiest ones to do is to grab his wrist. See how high my elbows are? Roll it around and bring my elbows in. Step back and push him away. And actually, I'm pushing myself away too, if I've got room to go back. Watch again. 1, 2. He's got me. I grab here. I bring it around to move those thumbs a little bit. Okay? I push up and back. Get away. I can round off and kick him now, or I can get away. When teaching kids especially, these are good techniques that really help kids out, especially as other kids horsing around, because you know how kids horse around playgrounds and that. Next technique is from behind choking. When a person chokes from behind, it's on the throat area only. Some know how to do it correctly by maybe adding both hands right here on each other.
a real strong Japanese hold. Excuse me a minute. Somebody first grab here, and as they're trying to get the other hand up, now you still have a chance. To make this technique work well, there's a lot of more avenues you can go, but to make it work well, first you must understand how to keep this arm from collapsing your throat. You should reach up and try to get both hands on it. If you don't, even if you get 1 or 2 fingers on it, it can still work. You should raise your elbow up. As he's still squeezing in tighter, bring your elbows to your body and freeze your elbows to the body, as we were talking about before. Once it's frozen, squeeze, sir. Squeeze. Hard. Squeeze. Come on. See? Okay. Now, he can squeeze, but you've got it locked. You've got it frozen. Immediately when you bring it down, you should turn your chin towards this V. There's a pressure point right on top here that you hit with the chin. There's another pressure point underneath that you can release with one hand and grab underneath here. From here, as I step down, I'm going to push up on the elbow, I'm going to pull down his hand, I'm going to sidestep to the side of him to work my way behind him. From here, I'm going to counter-lock them as I did that previous technique. On the opposite side of the head, pulling them up, I'm going to break them down. When I break them down, that's going to give me an advantage to strike them. So I can break them down to the ground, and now I can strike them. Again, this Japanese type of stranglehold here, you're reaching up, grabbing, bring the elbows and locking. Leave the one locked in, turn the chin, grab the thumb at the pressure point here, get your chin at another pressure point here. As you work your way around, you'll be going past a headlock situation and bring his hand behind him. You can try to drive him to the ground if you want to, but I rather counter-lock his body real quick. Counter-lock his body by grabbing the opposite side. Perhaps now I can turn and break his knee down. And then I can finish him off that strike. Okay, the Japanese stranglehold. The important thing again is being able to have time to breathe. Get up there and lock it down before the other hand gets up there to get you. Okay? Okay, now we're going to the next one, which is a headlock technique. You just saw now, possibly you couldn't get through that Japanese stranglehold, so you might have been caught in the headlock. If you happen to get caught in a headlock, and he's got you in this headlock and you were trying to get around, from here, you've got a pressure point right behind the knee here, where the thumb can hit. And immediately, you can come straight up here on top and grab a pressure point on his arm here, or his shoulder. You don't want to drop on your knee and injure yourself, so you want to step back with your one foot, as I'm going to do now with my left foot. As I step back, I'm going to lock my upper torso with my 2 arms, and I'm going to tally or take him down, as so. As he goes down, I'm going to push my head towards his arm that's holding my head to allow me to get to his rib cage with a palm strike, if possible, or an elbow strike, if possible. And if not those two, my other hand can reach around and grab his face underneath the chin or the nose and peel his head back. So again, on that headlock, as he has me down here, okay, and grab these pressure points here and here, or I can reach around here and grab. I hook underneath the nose, the chin, or the face. You got that? In the face area, I peel it back, I step back, and take him down. And now, ah! If I had to. Prefer not to. But it's a good technique for kids, especially on the playgrounds and that, and it's a good technique to teach. Okay, so that was a headlock. And we had the choke from the back and the front. Now we have what's called an arm lock from the rear. Okay? If you lock me from the rear of the arm here, this is the best way to grab an opponent. Because now I can't pull straight down. If you had the hand turned over, then his thumb would have been there, and I can pull out of his thumb easy. But the other way, I cannot do that. Say you had to hold my other wrist too. What I'm going to do is I'm going to step back and elbow him with my one hand. I have a little bit more mobility than the other hand. And as I do that, the other hand is going to grab his wrist because of the angle I'll be standing. Whack. From here, I'm going to shoot my hand straight forward so he cannot hang on. So it's like a straight breakaway. Boom. I'm still looking over my shoulder. I still see where he's at. And I come back with a face shot with my elbow. Whack. From here, I'm going to pivot around because now he's dazed. I hit him in the gut, I hit him in the face. It had to do something to this man. If it hasn't, there's something going on here. I'm going to pivot around, all the way around where I can flip him over with that grip I had. And now that he's partially stunned, I can go to the power play with a rear foot front kick, off the rear foot front kick. The chain over that knee and pow, right on through. Right on through into that face area if I want to, or into the gut. Okay? Again, from side view here, he's got me. I step back, strike. I break, re-strike again. Focus on that target area. Pivot around, turn him over. Kick. And now from here, I'm in and go for a break. But that's not necessary, for a yellow belt. The kick is just fine right there alone. Okay? Okay, you want to see it from another angle? Just to kiss his hand here. I think it might be beneficial. Watch that hand movement now, right here. As I step back, see how that hand comes up? Very important for the hand to come up and grab. You can see it's very easy. Very easy. All I do is just bring it in. I'm not trying to pull down. Just bring it in. With the elbow strike, I can break away and re-strike again. From here, I can step out, and you see how I can flip it right on over to help turn him over real easy. Okay, sir. Sir? Thank you. I'm going to be going to the rolls right now, so I'll be calling you in a minute right after that for the throw. Okay, thank you. Okay, now, the next area we'll be going into is throws. But in order to get into throws, you have to know how to roll or how to fall. The three major ways of rolling is the forward roll, the backward roll, and the side roll. You can roll up onto your feet, you can roll to break the fall, or you can drop back and break the fall. It's up to you which way you might have to do. If a person's right on you, you might force into several rolls and continue rolling away from the person where you can get yourself 10, 15, 20 feet away from the person. Like a person came up and this sucker kicked you in the groin or something, and you drop down, he's going to be right there, the knee shot in your face and everything else, if you're still gasping. So what you have to do is utilize the rolls in order to get yourself away, to give you time to compose yourself to be able to do something. Okay, let's just deal with the forward roll. On rolling, you always take into consideration the neck, the spine, and the joints. Okay? A forward roll is where I will take my hand, I will arch it. I will try to roll down my arm, arch my body, and roll across, right down the center of my back. That's a forward roll. Okay? Let's see if we can just take a look at this right here. I'm going to start over in this one corner here a little bit. You can see how it comes across. I come down, I slap the mat, I break the fall. Again, going back over, I'm coming down, I roll, slap the mat, and break the fall. Okay, and I can push myself right up and spring right back up. That's a forward roll. The backward roll is basically just the opposite, without the arm being extended. All I'm doing is basically dropping down, putting my hands behind my head. As I roll backwards, just getting up, over, pushing, either up with one hand or both hands, then going to a fighting stance as soon as possible. Main thing again is keep the body round, the head tucked under for you don't hit the back of the head, the skull. Okay? The side roll now is from one shoulder across the back to the other hip. That deals with the side angle turn, as so. On landing, it depends on how you're taught to land. Many different teachers have their own ideas about it. One way of landing is landing with the one leg out, the other leg bent, and slapping down. Another way is both of them here, both hands slapping down. So different people teach different ways of landing. Again, the side roll coming straight at you pretty much here. Breaking a fall, hands right here to cover. Okay? We have also the forward breaking the fall. To start off with that one there, we recommend normally to kneel, keep your elbows in. Some people teach elbows in, some people teach elbows out. Okay? As you go down, some people teach turn the head to the side, some people say straight forward. So again, there's a variance there. I prefer to keep my elbows in a little bit closer, not all the way out, a little bit closer to my end, and my head turned to protect the nose. So basically I'm coming forward, landing and turning my head. If you're going to go all the way down with kids on jumping, make sure you turn their belt so it doesn't poke them in the gut. Okay? Therefore they can jump a lot higher coming down for that break fall. So basically right here, coming down, turning to the side, and protecting yourself. Like I said, some people may point their head straight forward. The little bit of a snap of the neck can pop that nose into the ground and maybe break it or something, or give it a good blade nose. The backward way of breaking your fall, we start off with just squatting down, from the same position, squatting down, crossing the arms over, tuck the chin in. As you roll back, break the fall right here to the screen. Again, cross, tuck, as the person gets better at it, then as he goes back, he can push a little bit. And that gives him a little bit more body feel of the mat. That there was the backward fall, and we just had the forward fall. Okay, we'll be going into the throws in just 1 minute. Okay, sir? Okay, now we'll be going into throws. We just finished the rolling and the fall breaking, and now we're going to the throws. As a white belt learning towards a yellow belt, we don't have him throw. He doesn't start actually throwing until he starts going toward the blue belt. Now, you can very easily take the next tape number 3, and cut in half each of the techniques that is on that tape, and create another colored belt called the green belt. That way it's halfway up towards the blue belt, and at that point, that's when we start throwing. And we still deal with what's called from a grab. From a grab, this is what I mean. Jeff, sir? He grabs my wrist from a grab. Anytime you're working on throws, you've got to first deal with a base that you can work from readily and often, so you get the experience. On a throw, at a white belt, if he was a white belt, he may make mistakes, he may fall wrong, or something get hurt, or hurt the other person. So he does not throw until he gets the hang of how to step in, how to pick the person up. And then after he passes that yellow belt and he's going towards the blue belt, then he'll start throwing. And then he'll do it from a punch, but he'll do it from a grab mostly for quite a while. Okay, on a grab, the first 7 throws. The first one is grab the sleeve, and it's called an underarm throw in English. In order to make it work, the first thing you do is reverse his grip by coming around and you grabbing him. To do this here, you're working to a small circle. Let's just focus on the hands here a second here. Let's watch now. The hands are open. I come to a circle motion, dipping down a little bit, turning the hand around, pivoting my wrist, and then pushing out, forming a V with my thumb, as you can see my thumb right down here, and grabbing. Okay? As I do that, I make my other motions too, as far as stepping and grabbing him to throw him. Okay, here we go for the first throw. The first one, you pivot around for the grab. As I do that, I step in and I grab his sleeve just below the shoulder. When I step in, let's focus where the foot's at now. Can you see how the foot steps in towards him, toe versus toe? In other words, my left foot steps to his left foot, right in front. Let's keep looking at the feet now. Let's watch how I pivot. As I step with the second foot between, you can see how the first foot's starting to pivot around and how the second foot steps in. Okay, now I'm backing off. You can see what I'm doing now as far as the body goes. At this point here, if you look up here, you can see my elbow now slamming up into his armpit to knock his arm out of location almost. At the same time that goes in, my hip is going to be hitting him to bend him over. This hand's going to be pulling him out to get ready to throw him. The higher it goes, the more launch I get. I'm going to take and I'm going to tiptoe on one foot. Now before I tiptoe though, I'm going to already hit him, and as I bend him over, now I'll tiptoe to pick him up and get ready to throw. Let's take a look at it now. The type of approach I'm doing is a 2-foot approach. A 2-foot approach. I'm just stepping in, left foot to left foot, or right foot to right foot, slamming in, bending them over, and getting ready to throw them. As I throw them, I want to take this foot here and be able to trap his foot, shoot my foot straight back to be able to give him a quicker, faster fall where he cannot slide off or get his foot onto the ground to stop the fall. Let's watch it again. Coming in. Now, when working this here, you've got to develop a knack for shuffling in. So first to practice. 1, 2, 3. And you should do it about 10 times. Okay, 10 times, get the hang of that one particular move coming in. Now what I just did there was a 2-step. A 3-step is when I'm a little bit farther away, and I'll step 1, 2, and then pivot 3. So I initiate another extra step to get a little closer. 1, 2, then 3 if I'm farther away. Okay. Again, on the throw. First one, underarm. Circle motion, grabbing. Stepping, grabbing the sleeve. Pivoting around, slamming in, hitting in with my hip, and picking them up. Let's take a little front view of it. As I'm pivoting in, can you see how I'm arched? As I'm hitting in, I'm hoisting that feet up in the air to get them up in the air to get ready to throw them. When throwing him, I can bring his arm close to me and drop him quick next to me. I can bring his hand up higher, or arm higher, and throw him farther out. So when I'm first picking him up, I try to keep my hand in the air and his hand in the air in order to have him balance on my hip a little bit. If I pull the hand down low, he will fall over immediately. I don't want that to happen yet. I want to develop that ability to pick him up. Now, in order to pick him up, I've got him below his center line. So, Jeff, you want to face the camera, sir? Okay, the center line is his hip. Right where his hip bone is, about 2 inches below that, you draw a line straight across. Any place along that is a center line that you want to hit real hard with your hip to hoist him, bend him over, to be able to take him over. If he's shorter than me, then I should bend much lower to hit him. But being a little taller than me, it's much easier for me. So it's easier for a shorter person to throw a taller person. Okay, number 2 throw. Scissors to elbow. Scissors to elbow. Same circle motion here. Same 2-foot step coming in. This time, I'm going to come right onto his elbow here, above his elbow, my hand open. With my hand open, it makes it much sharper, bone structure-wise here, to attack his nerve. I rotate his hand out a little bit, and I've got it locked. And I can jack him up easy. Just like you saw much more detail on that first tape number 1, dynamic Hapkido on his throw. And coming in, sweeping through. The thing about this technique here, the scissors to the elbow, is that very easy, you can snap an elbow. So when working with a student, another friend, go ahead and bend his hand, let it collapse over. That way it gets a lot of pressure off. Is that right, Jeff? That's right. That keeps him from getting hurt. Coming into the third throw, goes around the neck. Same steps, same grab. Same type of scissors. Now you got to split your body weight. You've got to lower your hip, but yet raise your shoulder in order to grab around a person who's taller. Like so. Okay? Keep your hand a little bit high, but it doesn't go over right away. And what's happening is I'm squeezing around his nervous in his neck area. Jeff, what's the difference between me putting the scissors on your neck and the scissors on your elbow area? Any difference at all?
Pain in my neck caused me to raise up.
And the pain in the elbow arches you up also the same way quite a bit. The difference is, anything that's near your head is much more alert, isn't it?
It's a lot more painful.
A lot more painful too, a lot more nerve in that area, right. So, when working that neck area, a lot of people get very sensitive about grabbing on the neck, so you can just go ahead and slap around like this here to grab them. The main thing is being able to lock that arm or lock that shoulder to hoist them. But to be really effective and really nasty, Hapkido-wise, on really having strong techniques, you open up wide, and as he said, it's a lot more painful getting that nerve in. Now we worked 3 of them. We did the one underarm. We did the scissors to the elbow. We did the scissors around the neck. Now we go around the waist. Now going around the waist, I'm going to turn him to the side a little bit, to his back towards you a little bit there. And what I'm going to be doing to Jeff this time is that I'm going to use my hand, I'm going to hit right into his kidney area that arches his body up. Now watch what happens here now. Same step, same grab. Okay? See how it's hitting right there? See how the thumb works in there? I hurt him a little bit there, make him arch up, he doesn't duck down on me. I hit that hip in. When I pick him up, I try and balance him on one foot. Then I put him back down. Practice that for a little bit so you can develop some stability on one foot so you're able to someday sweep through with the other foot with a quick shot through or something to really send them to the ground fast. Again, around the waist. Curving around, stepping, grabbing, bending him, picking him up. See how I was tiptoe on one foot? Straighten the other knee out a little bit, and then I can always shoot through and pull that hand, and down he'll go real quick. Next page has the throws. Yellow belt, this is what we want from a yellow belt. Next throw is between the legs. It's not a fireman carry like in wrestling or something, but yes, effective enough that it gets a guy going over. What you'd like to do is take in consideration he weighs, say, 215 pounds. You want to be able to bend him over right in the middle. And that middle would be at his center of gravity, right? That is where we just talked about. 2 inches below the hip line. So that hip line, you want pretty much in the center of your body, your spine. To do that, the important part is being able to take this hand high enough in the air. Here's what I'm saying. As I grab here and step in, I'm going to take this hand straight up in the air and I'm going to straighten my arm out all the way. By having my arm straightened all the way, he is arch max. I'll continue pulling him around and you can see how he bends on me and how he's balanced there. If a young person dealing with throws, someone say younger than 35, not over a hill gang yet, they can go with a throw close to the shoulders as I just did this. But if they're weak or they're short and weak or older, then you would bend them across your hip line almost, your back, your lower back, instead of upper back, so you don't want to get injured, okay? The most important part, again, is to get a center of gravity in the center of your body. The way to do that is to take that hand, take it real high, keep arching it way out. What you do is, you take that hand, you go way out, straight arm, you go into a circle motion down. You don't stop here. You continue all the way through and pass to the other knee. By then he's way over and ready to go. Now if he did go for a throw, if he did fall, I don't want him to land on my knee or my foot. So as he falls, I would drag up as he goes down. And now I can come back for a shot with him or a knee shot or something. Again, that is on tape number 3. Between the legs throw, without throwing, step in between, nice stance, strong, knees apart, shoot between, arm up high, pulling out and around. The next one is between the legs but hitting the ankle bone. Hitting that ankle bone, what do you feel there, Jeff?
I feel like I'm about to lose my balance.
Nerve pressure point?
Yes.
Little nerve there?
Yes.
So what I'm doing, I'm hitting that nerve at pressure point to sweep him up and over, make him go faster. So if a guy threw a punch at me, I might duck here and come down and hit that ankle bone there to throw him over real quick, like this way here. Boom. Okay? Or if he gets in my face, I might push him back, and if he comes at me, I might drop down real low and hit those ankle bones and just flip him right on over. But again, for yellow belt, we're not throwing yet. Safety reasons. Again, straight on, grabbing, stepping. hitting the ankle bone, and that will pick that foot right on up, and over here go real quick, and it goes over, and you follow up. Number 7 throw. Cross hand, cross leg throw. Jeff, sir, over here. Okay, as he grabs me, this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab his hand. This is a cross hand grab. I'm going to step. I'm going to turn the hand over, raise it the same way before. I'm going to go for the other ankle bone, the shin bone. I'm still pointing hand out, but this time, as I arch my elbow up, you see how it locks his arm, and it's lifting him up, right?
Yes.
So it's hard to lower the center of gravity because his arm will break. I continue it, and as you can tell, he wants to go with it and not lose an arm. Right, sir?
Yes.
That is cross hand, cross leg. Watch it again. This is number 7. Grab, step, shoot his hand down, going down, the hand going up, this one's going down towards the leg, out, over, and now he's ready to go. I hit that leg. And I just continue the hand right on through, and over he'll go. That is cross hand, cross leg. Now we're going into the kicks. Okay, Hapkido acquired a lot more kicks as Shang-Tzu was studying other arts in 1946 to 48. And those kicks, he first dealt with, the first one was the front kick. And to have good power and good strength to be able to really take a person down, he deals with a front kick off the back foot. So you get into a stance approximately 2 feet across and approximately 3 feet behind and 3.5 feet behind. He'll lean forward, have his hands to the side here, he'll get his knee up high. Now if I'm going to kick him in a groin, I wouldn't want to point my knee at the groin kick, because once I've extended out, I won't do much damage. But if I point my knee above my target area, it's the same as me trying to punch through his head. Not trying to touch his nose, but punch to the back of his head. That way I'll knock the nose, everything else farther back. The same thing with a kick. You've got to think through it, so you've got to aim higher. So on a front kick, basic thing is coming up, turn the toes up, and kick. Chamber knee up high, re-chamber back. Front kick. Front kick can be designed for the solar plex area. Just aim that knee up towards his chin this time. And coming up towards the solar plex. Now sometimes you work on what's called a block. You work on where you block across, pick the person's arm up, and then kick. Walk the other way, pick the arm up, and kick. And that's another exercise on the blocking area. On this one, on picking up a punch and then delivering a kick. That's a front kick. The side kick deals with, again, off the back foot. You've got to pivot the hip over to be able to aim and penetrate into the target area. As such, I'll back a little bit more. Side kick, again, arch your body, aim at the target area, chamber a knee, and snap it in. Turning the hip over will give it the power. Side kick, aiming at the target area, chamber a knee, kicking out. Side kick. Next one we're going to be working or showing you now instead of a side kick is a rear kick. A rear kick is very effective if the person's coming up from behind you. You're just basically chambering up and kicking straight back. Some people teach bending over and looking. Some people teach arching back and looking. I myself prefer arching back and looking. Okay, you're here, you look on the same side, you chamber up, and you kick back. Look, kick. Okay? Look, kick. So we got a chamber in front. It's a very powerful kick, especially when you add a step to it. Okay? So now we have the front kick and side kick and rear kick. The next one is a roundhouse kick. A roundhouse kick can be delivered in different ways. One way that's really nice is simply by a sharp pivot and aim at the low rib area. It's great for a street release for that type of technique, or even into the thigh area here. Okay, so coming in here, extending the toes, and kicking the thigh area. Or hitting in the rib areas, pulling the toes back with the ball of the foot. Pulling the toes back, ball of the foot. It isn't too practical to go for the face because it'll alert him much easier, or he might be able to grab your foot. So you don't want to really aim up here. Okay. It's just too easy. He can grab you, get you off balance, and knock you down. You don't need that. Okay? Okay. So here we got again. We've got the front kick, the rear kick, the side kick, and a roundhouse kick. Now, a nice front kick is just standing here with a loose foot and just snapping it out, like so. And if a guy is going to give you any trouble, in Hapkido you have certain stances. One stance is the self-defense stance. This is the self-defense stance right here, just like this here. And all I'm doing is just picking up my knee and snapping out, boom, cracking them right there. I'm picking up and cracking them right there. And as far as he can tell, hey, I don't want to fight. So he may want to come in, he may not, but whatever his choice is, you've already made up your choice. You knew 2 years ago. Or in this case, the yellow belt, hopefully you've known for 3 months. By the time you got your yellow belt, that you're going to kick him from the stance. Okay? So that's a short, quick, fast front kick. Okay, when it comes to the side kick, okay, fix me, straight fix me a minute. The side kick, you can stand again here, and you're going to step back if you want to, and do a side kick off the front foot. Stepping back, do a side kick off of it. Stepping back, hold the shoulders back, arching back, chamber the knee up, out and back. Make sure the hip pivots over a little bit to add extra power and drive through the body to stop it. Okay? So on a side kick, you're stepping back, snapping out, hitting, and rechambering and bringing it back. The roundhouse kick, instead of leaving the foot partially pivot and doing a roundhouse kick, you can have it already pivot as a V almost, and just snap it right on into the side here. Right there. Just pick it right up there and boom, and pop them. There's no problem at all. Just pop them right there, and you've got any of those strikes, if you had to deliver a strike. So for a roundhouse kick, there's no problem at all. Just pick it up and snap it in. You can snap it in with the ball of the foot or with the instep of the foot, if you like. The rear kick, like I said before, you can step back and do it. You simply just step back, kick, and bring it back. So instead of standing and kicking, you can step back, drive strong right through the person there. And that'll bend them over real quick. And then we've got for an instep. With the instep coming straight down, smashing down on a stomp. And as we did previously on the first 4 or 3 wrist techniques, we do the instep kick, turn the foot to the side, hitting low or hitting high. Hitting low, when you hit low, if you push out to the side, it will drop into the ground very fast. Okay, very fast. So if I came out and hit here, and all I do is push it a little bit to go down, I roll it across, and that'll give them a lot of pain real quick in that one lower area there. So it's a real nice low kick, and people don't expect that type of a kick. Okay? So there's another kick right there. So these are basic kicks. The basic kicks we're dealing with right there, just alone for the yellow belt. The crescent kicks, the hook kicks, the axe kicks, the hammer kicks, the spinning kicks, they all come in on tape 3 and tape 4. Okay, sir. Thank you very much for being with us on tape number 2. Hope you enjoy it, study it, work with it very carefully, be careful with it. And you get a chance, get tape number 3. Thank you.